All right, Rabosai, good morning. Let's begin. So we are picking up brand new parak today. We are picking up on parak Chaf Hey. The derech knias hayira, the manner in which one is able to acquire the midah of yiras. Remember again, this is building from last chapter. We spoke about the notion of yiras hachet, fear of sin, the two different categories. Number one, the more elementary category of yiras ha'onesh, fear of punishment. The more quote-unquote sophisticated category, Said Mamish. I love it. Great. That's even better than Dovi Yalman. All right, feels a little bit like being back home. Okay, good. Thank you. So we spoke about the more sophisticated level, ultimately again of the more sophisticated level of Yiras Haromimos, a fear of losing out in a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So now taking this a step further in Perek Chaf Hey, the Ramchal writes as follows: Ach derech knias hayira hazos. So how does one acquire this midah of yira? He says, Hu ha'hizbonin al shnei inyonim amitiyim. So the way one acquires this midah of yira is really contemplation regarding two fundamental ideas. Ha'echad, hu heyos shchinosu yisparach nimtzeis b'chol makom sheba'olam. So point number one, contemplation point number one, is a recognition that the Shekhinah is everywhere. The divine presence is everywhere. V'shehu yisparach mashkiach al kol davar katon v'gadol. And that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ultimately, again, his hashkacha, his divine providence, really devolves upon everything big and small. There is nothing hidden from him. There is nothing that is too important or too unimportant that doesn't have the attention of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ella hadavar hagadol v'hadavar hakatan nikla v'nichbad huroeh v'hu mevin b'li hefresh. So we'll say, so says Ramchal, the point, or I should say, approach number one, to go ahead and acquire this midah of yira, this both fear of punishment as well as ultimately again reverence and fear of loss of relationship if I do the wrong thing, is a fundamental idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything. He sees everything. God sees everything. God is present everywhere, and his divine providence devolves upon every single thing. There is no such thing that is too small to warrant God's attention or that is too big to warrant God's attention. Everything receives HaKadosh Baruch Hu's attention. So once Humash Amar Akasav Maloa Aretz Kevodo V'omer Halo Es HaShamayim Ve'es HaAretz Animali V'omer Mi Kashem Elokeinu HaMagbi'i LaShaves HaMashpili L'Os B'Shayim V'Aretz. It's like we said in Hallel. Who is like Hashem our God? HaMagbi'i LaShaves, who sits on high, but yet again HaMashpili L'Os B'Shayim brings himself down to see what is happening on the heaven in the lower heavens and in the earth. V'omer Kiram Hashem V'Shafal Yira V'Gava V'Merchak Yeda. So we'll say, so what does this mean? So okay, this is nothing new. We all recognize that at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows everything. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is actively involved in everything. Right? I mean, there's nothing in this world that is too big or too small, too important or too unimportant, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not involved. He sees everything, he knows everything, and he's present everywhere. So what does this mean for us? Look what he writes in the next paragraph. V'chivon sheyisbar lo sheb'chol makom shehu hu omed lifnei shchinaso yisbar. So we'll see what that effectively means for me. You see, the first part of this discussion is a discussion vis-a-vis God. So God is everywhere. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything. Okay, what does that mean for me? V'chivon sheyisbar lo sheb'chol makom shehu. Now that I recognize that God is everywhere, hu omed lifnei shchinaso yisbarach. Also, what that means for me is I am effectively standing before God in every moment. So in every moment of my life, in every moment of my day, in every single thing that I do, I stand before the Ribono Shel Olam. I stand before God. Now what happens as a result of that? As me'ileha tava bo hayira v'hapachad pen yikashel b'masa. So I will say, what that does is it engenders a certain level of fear, a certain level of fear. Now, again, we don't like, often when it comes to the notion of fear, so that's not something we particularly like to dwell on in our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And for very good reason. Fear is not an emotion that brings you close to something. Fear is more often an emotion that pushes you away from. So Rabbi Yitzchak Berdichev discusses this idea. He says, like, a person fears fire. So because I fear fire, I might want to warm myself by the heat of the fire, and I'm going to use the fire to go ahead and cook my food. But I'm always going to keep that distance from fire because I don't want to get burnt. So when you fear something, you generally don't strive to come close to it. You generally keep a little bit of a distance from it. So sometimes when we speak about a fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's almost like a little bit, it's almost like a little bit counterintuitive, because here I'm spending my life trying to come close to God, right? I'm spending my life trying to connect with God, and then you want me to have an emotional experience that's going to put a distance. And so the answer is yes, right? The answer is there is a little bit of this contradiction in a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which we're going to see is not really a contradiction. I love Hashem. He loves me. I want to be close to Him. He wants to be close to me. See, He's my Father. He's the shepherd of the flock. But at the same time, He's also a king. And a king has the power of life and death. And a king has the power to punish. And a king sometimes has to be a little bit removed and seemingly indifferent. So there is this dialectic in this relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So says Ramchal something amazing. Now, based on the first paragraph, my takeaway is I live in the presence of Hashem. And because I live in the presence of Hashem, what that does do is, Az me'eleha, tavo bo hayira v'hapachat pen yikashel masaf. That engenders, on one hand, you can see it on both sides, that could engender an incredible feeling of elation. I live in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My whole life is spent in the presence of the Ribbon Shalom, and that is beautiful and wonderful and exceptional. Yet it also engenders a fear. And the fear is that if I make mistakes, if I commit averos, if I do things that are detrimental and negative, I do so in the presence of Hashem. I do so in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And to engage in chait in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a very serious thing. So therefore says the Ramchal, but on the flip side, what it does engender on a positive level is, because I recognize that I live in the presence of God, I must be so much more careful and so much more meticulous with my behaviors. So says the Ramchal, essentially, and this, by the way, is not unique to the Ramchal, this concept of God awareness. We've spoken about this a number of times. The Baal HaTanya speaks about this. The opening line in Shulchan Aruch is about this. Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit. That when you live with God awareness, when you recognize that you dwell, that your life is lived within the presence of Hashem, that demands a heightened level of behavior, that demands a heightened level of attentiveness to how I'm living, to what I'm doing, and to how I'm acting. He goes on, again, now that I know that I live in the presence of God and God is everywhere, I have this ongoing fear and anxiety. Will my actions live up to the fact that God is in my presence? This is what Chazal meant when they said, know what is above you. Ayin roa, a seeing eye. This is Pirkei Avos. Ozen shomas, a listening ear. V'chol ma'asecha b'sefer nechtaven. And all of your deeds are recorded in a book. Ki kevan shashkachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu al kol davar, v'hu roa hakol v'shomea hakol, v'adai shekol ha'ma'asim yu osim roshim v'chulam nichtavim b'sefer im l'schus im lechova. So we'll say this. This is a truly incredible idea. So says Ramchal, this is the deeper meaning, ultimately, of the Mishnah that says what? No one is above you. No one is above you. And I will say, the truth is really what Ramchal would say is it's not the imagery of above you is only because we often have this conception of God above and us below. But the truth is, it's really know what is beside you. Know what is beside you, or know who is beside you. A seeing eye. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees everything. Ozen Shomas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears everything. And every single thing that I do is recorded in a sefer. Every single thing that I do is ultimately again recorded in the book. In the book. What's the book? That's the record. That's the ledger of the Ribono Shel Olam. Let's just finish this paragraph. Because since divine providence devolves upon everything, you osim roshim. So we'll say, so this part will end. This piece is actually quite interesting because what Ramchal says, I understand the first two. What's the meaning of the last three? A seeing eye means God knows everything. Okay. A listening ear means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears everything. So that's God awareness, right? God is aware of everything I do, and therefore I should be aware that God is attentive to everything I'm doing. That last part, which is what we'll pick up with in Mirz Hashem tomorrow, the Chol Ma'asecha B'Sefer Nechtavin, is really an incredible yesod. That idea is that everything I do has an impact. It has a lasting impact. When you write something down, it's kept for posterity, right? It's there. It's there. So it's not just that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is aware of what I'm doing. It's that every single thing that I do is recorded. Recording means it has an impact. And therefore there's going to be a repercussion, sometimes for good and sometimes for not so good. So we'll say we'll stop over here for today. We'll pick up, but again, you see where the Ramchal is going with this, that the notion or the key to Yiras HaChet ultimately, again, is living life with a sense of God awareness. All right, we'll stop here. We'll pick up with the rest of Perek Chav Hey tomorrow. Shkoyach.